G'day YouTube. Bit of a quiet morning here, a bit chilly outside, so I thought I'd come in and do a repotting video for you all. I've got here in front of me this beautiful Nepenthes singalana. This is the BE3170, which is I think the Bellarang form. Don't quote me on that, but you can see there are a few of the last lower pictures there. Looks like that's still going to be a lower here. Intermediate coming. You might not be able to, or you won't be able to see it on camera, I don't think, but there's just the last remnants of a wing on there. And then over here, looks like it's going to be its first upper. See the tendrils start turning. There's no visible wing. Although the tendril's not quite coming from the very back of the picture, so that may be an intermediate. You can see here it's going up to a vine, so the uppers won't be far off. This has been up on my bench side for a while now, since I brought it out of the fridge. As it was starting to vine, it was getting a bit too big. It was going to start burning itself on the light, and this actually did burn that tendril up there. It's just started raining. Hopefully that doesn't come through on camera too much. But anyway, so I just thought I'd do a quick repotting demonstration, show you what I do, and I'm going to just set it up, get it over the side here. See my other videos, I've got the platychilers and jam bands and things down there. And it's just going to give it room to vine. I'm not expecting this to flower for a while yet, but it can vine up under the VG80 lights hung through here. Be a bit cooler as the temperature creeps up coming into summer. Can't wait for it. It's just towards the end of winter now. So I'll just go through my my process repotting something like this. I did just realize I forgot to get a new piece of bamboo for it, so I'll do that off camera later. Yeah, got some beautiful moss in here. I've just noticed some bad moss, so bear with me a sec while I spin myself around and grab some tweezers. I've spent a very annoying amount of time recently just trying to get a lot of these invasive mosses out of my collection. I'm never going to beat it in this greenhouse. There's moss all down the back of the house. The front yard is full of it, and I mean, it's been raining for almost weeks on end now, so it's loving it out there. And obviously the water running through from the garden runs through my greenhouse, which brings in spores and bits of moss, and eventually they do get in, and it does get in through my live sphagnum, which is driving me insane, particularly this species of sphagnum. I have no idea what it is, but it's a really nice smaller species of sphagnum, and I'm finding it fantastic for seedlings. I can trim it down. It just stays a bit more compact and slow growing, so it doesn't overrun the seedlings so much. Yeah, so there's not too much in there, which is good. It's a pretty clean bit of moss, which does mean that I will be able to harvest it for other plants soon. I just found a bit more there. For going on to seedlings, and I have been just spreading this around just to get sheer surface area of it. I've got it in some pots up here. I got it in some larger pots back there. There are a few things down amongst this section that have it, just so I can try and propagate as much as I possibly can. You will realize if you're ordering from me, I do take the moss out, because at the moment I just do not have enough of it. And lately it's just been so infested with the poorer mosses that you probably wouldn't want it anyway. So enough of that. Now, this has been in this pot for a while. Don't actually remember when I repotted it. Might have been a little while ago now, at least a year or so. But and look, it probably could stay in there, but considering I don't think it's going to flower anytime soon. I thought this was a perfect time to get it out. This is definitely too big for it right now, but my next size down is a similar size to this, just taller. And I feel if I did that, I'd just be repotting it again in a few months or another year. So to save the disturbance of the roots, I'm going to go straight to this size. And I mean, it'll probably stay in this pot for years to come now. I won't need to repot it again for quite a while, I hope. Although, if I do, it means it's growing uncontrollably, which would be fantastic. So you'll see there my mixing basin. It's a medium cocoa chip, medium perlite, roughly 50-50, give or take. And by the camera, I do have a smaller mix. I may run out of this. I need to soak some more with this size chip and give them a wash, but let's see how we go. So it starts obviously just getting a load in, and I tend to like to pack it roughly the height of the pot so I know where I'm going. I'm terrified this is going to fall off this little makeshift workbench I've got going with this bar stool in here. And the next thing I'm going to add in is some Nutricoat. Now, I don't tend to recommend fertilizing very much, and definitely don't try and follow my fertilizer regime. If you're not fertilizing, start very, very slowly. You'll find some plants react differently to others, depending on your conditions, which may vary through your collection. They'll be able to take different amounts of fertilizer. Now, ideally, I'd be fertilizing like this in spring, but that's only a few weeks away now. So I need a jump start. It is warm in my greenhouse. I get a ton of light in here, natural and grow lights. The high humidity, and I've also got RO water that I flush with regularly. My watering system runs off RO. That does a light flush every day. Well, no, so every second day it probably gets a light flush, and the days in between just get a light watering for now. I've turned it down for the cooler months. The light watering in between is just there to keep the live sphagnum happy, and then it gets a good water on the other days. And I will also come through here at least once or twice a week with the reverse osmosis hose, and I will flush all the pots, flush any excess build up so I don't get any issues there. So I'm going to go a fair little chunk of fertilizer in here. You know, nothing like you would do for, say, you know, your veggie patch or anything like that. And I'm then just going to mix that through the media. Now, this media that is in here now is actually going to be below, so it'll actually give it a little bit of time. The roots will have to crawl down to it. There will obviously be some will soak up through the media itself. And I'm just going to pack that lower portion of media down deeper. So now that's sitting in nicely. I'll check the height again. Yeah, so the top of that mix should be just below the top of this pot, which is what I was hoping for. I'll just clean off. There's a couple of old dead leaves here. Oh. And there was this pitch. Don't know what happened here, but this picture aborted, so I can get rid of that tendril. And so did that one there. Yeah, I think that looks nice and clean. Good news is it does look like I'm going to have enough of this mix to do this pot. I'll just move this out of the way. I'm probably going to make a mess here. I'll just get that. Whoop. You can see how much support that was giving it. So I'll definitely need to redo the bamboo. Just got an old pot here that I'm using as a green waste bin in the greenhouse for any, spilling the picture out. And I'm just going to try and loosen up the media. Now I can already see the roots are worked all the way through this sphagnum, which is fantastic to see. I do feel that definitely helps the plant. Okay, so it's definitely not root bound. And therefore my comment of it could have stayed in this pot for a while longer stems true. Yeah, this was repotted fit more recently than I thought. Actually, it's not a huge root system on there, but I can see plenty of good healthy roots. I've sort of snookered myself here. Try and just rest that there, and I'm going to need a bit more of my potting mix. Yep. Of course, this has been outside, so it's sopping wet, and now my lap is too. I dream one day of having a full-size potting bench in the greenhouse for me to do this stuff in. I do have a larger potting bench you would have seen in other videos up in the carport, but it's 7:15 in the morning. It's like 8 degrees outside. Yeah, I would do it if I had to, but I can make enough space in here. So now I'm just going to try and work a bit more media around the root ball. This is actually going to be quite unstable now I'm looking at it. And try not to bury this sphagnum moss. I'm going to turn you this way. Yeah, so that gives me a little bit of support. And I'm just going to work this media around the existing roots. Now I have plenty to latch into there. As I said, this plant will now have tons of room to grow. It's a nice chunky mix, plenty of air in there. And once I've finished doing this, I will try and just spread that sphagnum a little bit more. And I may trim it around a little bit and just get it covering the surface. That'll do that. I've definitely found with the live sphagnum does keep algae, and it does actually keep some of the moss at bay. Some of the less desirable mosses, should I say. So I think I am going to trim rather than try and spread the sphagnum too much, just because I don't want to I'm trying not to damage the roots that are pulling through the sphagnum. So I'm just going to take off the top maybe centimetre or so and just spread that out to cover up the exposed media. And trimming moss like this definitely helps it thicken up, and you get a nice heavy sphagnum coverage once it kicks back in. Probably a couple of months before it really takes over, and this pot will just fill out nicely and give it that nice natural look. The photos I have seen of singalana in the wild, it does grow in sort of mossy montane forest. Should have a bit more research before the video to give you guys some more information on whether it's epiphytic or terrestrial, but I think it's going to be happy. It's been in this similar chunky mix that I've been using up until this point, so I can't see it being too unhappy in here. And there you have it. Now all there is left to do is find a nice new piece of bamboo. I did have some in the corner there, but I've obviously used it for something else. So I'll go outside in the rain and get that. And then I'll just give this a heavy watering. And like, you want to flush any of the perlite dust, anything else built up in the media, just flush all that out the bottom of the pot to give it a clean start. And then I might have to shuffle a few things around because this is in a larger pot. I probably want to get it towards the wall of the greenhouse. I've got some smaller pots in front, platychila cuttings and things like that are growing out. So yeah, all right, that's it for this morning. We'll leave you to it until next time.